It's January 21st, 2022. I made the mention earlier about the story that was on the television that they brought in this morning about the hospital in New Jersey. Now, the word hospital and hospital is a dangerous, similar sounding word. Different industry, however, I don't know what funds and fuels one another. But I had mentioned that who they sent over, they were calling a National Guard, they were calling a military. It's the only military that they've ever mentioned here. It looks more, I don't know. It's not something I was invited into. It was not something talked about when I was growing up. We knew there was a battlefield somewhere. Some people were protecting us. Some people were fighting over things we didn't know what, didn't know why, didn't learn words. But now it mentions something. This is all of the news that comes into the rabbit ear stations now that they've upgraded themselves to some form of smart TV or technology. This one being of this, which actually is the same as my smart device or my smartphone that I use to record myself on.
Look, his sister tells us the company should have done more to stop it. If not for Facebook, do you think your brother would still be with us today?
I don't even want to give this a conversation because it's how the humans are.
That no one else had? Of course.
They're going after big money, but knocking out secure issues. It's I don't know.
But we begin with urgent
I
talks
don't
to
have
prevent a
details on
possible
it.
Russian invasion of Ukraine. More than 100,000 Russian troops are now deployed on 3 sides of the country, and Ukrainian forces are preparing for what could be a major fight. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Geneva today, where he met with his Russian counterpart in an effort to stop a conflict.
Now, these are names that are not familiar to me. When the humans use the word Russia, I only know a name of Putin that goes along with the gigantic it's like if I had a condor wing open or a firebird of some sort, and it was 9 time zones long, in the area of Russia. They only give one face, one name, one voice on this teleportation device. They allow one teleportation in to my visual cortex in this time frame. I am unclear. I've heard one other name, which was Gorbachev when Reagan was president, but again, that's it. So I know there's obviously in that large community or state or country or whatever word they use, I know that there's more than just he in the country. I just like with President Biden, U.S. President Biden, the wingspan's not, it's only 3 time zones deep, but there's a team behind the person. But this is the message. So now they're speaking with the same words, but I mean, I don't even know how to linguistically construct it, because in this Ukraine to Russia battle, to my understanding, there's guns and there's tanks and there's a different level of physicality and warfare in a uniformed, strategic precision move. But in New York, it feels like more of a quiet, silent, they moved in without this level of weaponry that they're displaying for this one purpose. So I don't know, again, if Ukraine is a smaller tribe and Russia is the larger, bigger brother of protection. I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's how we're to see Canada to New York relation. I don't know. Nobody's ever explained it in that manner for a woman from Queens who has a painting with a girl with a pearl earring, a baseball cap, and a hooded sweatshirt in the most interesting color. I wouldn't have chosen, but it's what was donated in I Have No Clothing or Money. So when people speak of invasion, I mean, it depends on the level of or degree of, I guess, socioeconomic overstate, understate, and relation. I mean, thus far, what they're displaying up here, I don't even have. I mean, this is combat zone. This is what the movies, cinemas have some titles that I may or may not have seen for other reasons, or I definitely don't remember battle scenes and things and details of what the movies have portrayed, whether it's a reenactment or whether it's a fundraiser. I'm unclear because, again, I've been left out of that arena of human knowledge. But as an example, for linguistical construct in what I'm going through with, I have an apple tree. I live in something the humans refer to as Big Apple. But I am concerned between or the lack of ability to live freely and participate in society. It's concerning, and find my forever family, which is actually my most important, the only thing I really cared about, because for where I was built in cosmic things, which I know it's against the modern woman, but you find your purpose when you find your person. They help define you. You find purpose together. You build one another. But my liege is my sire, is my front, what I look to for a closed circuit of, is this correct? Like for positive reinforcement. I've never had that. I first of all, I couldn't get that from Linda and Lou. Linda and Lou don't live that way. But I'm not of this world, of this earth in that sense. I'm something cosmologically completely different. So, and what I found in New York in my life frame has not been helpful in making sure I get to where I need to be for completing my circuit or completing my whatever. For whatever reason, they held me in New York, and he is elsewhere. Both 1976 and 1975, the ones that are on paperwork for a very different reason than any other human would explain. But again, that's privy. And it's not something that anyone else could translate other than myself.
conflict before it begins. The U.S. is threatening major economic sanctions. Holly Williams is in the capital. Holly, good morning.
Good morning. Here in Kiev, we're about 5,000 miles from America. But the US says this is not simply a regional dispute far from home. Instead, it's about protecting democracy and stopping Russia from turning its neighbors into puppet states.
There is no...
Now, I've never heard the words puppet and state put together. I can sit and I can fathom and contemplate on the two words. But I'm not sure in an educated world how they speak on such things, because the level of information that's been transported or allowed, I mean, at this level, I'm highly inquisitive and epicurious, but with hesitation, because I'm missing my other. I'm missing the one who gives purpose and who completes my, no, this is who we are, this is what we, and that conversation never got solidified or complete for me. I'm still in some state of chaos I've never even begun to live, because I'm not defining myself. I am now in survival mode, in some alone survivor, waiting for completion to show up so life can even begin. And I'm at 43 years old, on a painted, no less.
No doubt, let there be no doubt at all, that if Putin makes this choice, Russia will pay a heavy price.
The US is warning Russia if it invades its neighbor Ukraine, it faces a swift, severe response in the form of sanctions.
I have no idea as a couch potato why they'd be
But
fighting.
new satellite images show the massive buildup of Russian troops and weaponry along Ukraine's border. President Biden said a Russian incursion might not use conventional tactics.
And paramilitary tactics, so-called gray zone attacks, and actions by Russian soldiers.
I have no idea what any of that
not wearing
means.
Russian uniforms.
To lower tensions, Russia's demanding security guarantees, including a rolling back of NATO troops from Eastern Europe and a ban on Ukraine joining the alliance. Those are things the US and its partners say they cannot agree to. And many believe the real motive of President Vladimir Putin is to control Russia's neighbors by any means possible.
He worked like a terrorist with nuclear weapons, but he is still terrorist.
He's a terrorist.
It looks like that.
It's been 30 years since the collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. But now a European capital is again looking down the barrel of a Russian gun. Ukrainians are frightened.
Because it's not only the threat for Ukraine, it's a threat for all the world.
We want a normal life, how we want it, not anybody telling us what to do.
Again, it looks, for me, standing in New York, like I have more family members in this televised, labeled, whatever, than I do currently left in New York. I don't know how the platform changed so quick and swiftly. And there's been really no instruction one way or the other. There's the lack of communication.
The US is sending up to $200 million worth of emergency military aid to Ukraine and has authorized its allies to transfer American-made anti-tank and anti-aircraft weapons to Ukraine. But the US has ruled out sending combat troops. Tony?
Holly Williams on the deepening crisis in Ukraine. Holly, thank you very much. We are learning new details about the investigation into the events surrounding the 2020 election. And the Select Committee is investigating January 6th, is asking Ivanka Trump to tell them what she saw and heard in the White House before, during, and after the assault on the Capitol.
Again, I don't know what that means. But again, this is the level of, like they used to call it current events. But it gets very confusing. So this is Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza.